Shalom, 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 shalom. And once again, you're not under the sounds of the voice of your brother Tazadaq, coming at you through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. I was supposed to start at 1300 hours, military time, if you want to say, but didn't start at that time. Nevertheless, we are getting started now. This is not legal advice. I do not offer legal advice. If you need legal advice, seek yourself a competent counsel, and then please be advised. I'm not a counselor of this world. I'm a counselor of the Most High. I'm a starseed sent to your dimension to give you right knowledge. Now, I'm going to entitle this lecture Feminism, Lesbianism, Homosexuality, Fatherless Homes, CPS, and their aim to destroy the family and impose totalitarianism. Now, this feminist, you're not going to like this, but I'm going to tell the truth here. I'm not a male chauvinist. I do not have, some biased view against women. In fact, I love our sisters. Hey, I love women, but I also love truth more than anything. St. John's 8:32 says, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. So, many of you, I don't know if you're familiar with the Communist Manifesto. If you're not, I would highly suggest that you get familiar with the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx. That's what feminism, feminism, homosexuality, lesbianism is all part of Marxism and, the Erich Fromm regime, with destruction of family. That's all a plot. This is all a plot that's actually been essentially strategically planned to create fatherless homes. So while you hear, you have, a lot of so-called black women, melanated women, if you will, Hebrews, Moors, out there popping their necks and snapping their fingers, saying they don't need a man. And Esau has actually taught you to believe that nonsense, that you don't need a man, and that, hey, I could do it by myself. But how's that working out for you, sis? I mean, now I'm going to prove that that's not working out for you, even though you think it is. It's not working out for you, not according to statistics. Now, I want you to keep in mind that Tazadaq didn't come up with these statistics. Their system did. And who's causing these statistics? You, sisters. And you want to keep pointing the finger at the men. Now, there's some no good men out there. But for the most part, most men love their children just like you do. But when the man tries to rear his children in the manner in which they should be reared, because the truth of the matter is, men have different methods of teaching children than women do. That's just point blank, period. That's just point blank and straight to the point. There's something that the Most High put in us that he didn't put in you. See, you was created for a particular purpose, as were the man. And I'm going to tell you straight, sister, you were not created to lead a man, not a righteous, God-fearing man. You was not created to do that. Okay, my phone just fell. I'll try it from here. Give me those of you that's on Facebook. Phone just dropped, but I'll try it from here. You're gonna have a much nearer view, but hey, it'll still work out. So, with that being said, now let's look at some statistics, because there's a lot of so-called professional women out there, right? And you got your associates, you got your masters, you got your BS, BA, your PhD, and so on and so forth. And a man can't tell you a damn thing, because Esau, he's allowed you in his system. In fact, there's more you going into these educational systems than the so-called black and Hispanic man in this day and age. So you figure they can't tell you anything. But so let's see what Esau can tell you according to his statistics of fatherless homes. Now, hear the word that's coming out through the spirit of Yahweh, Ba'Shem Yahweh Shah. I want you to hear this well, sisters and brothers. You all need to listen to this. So, fatherless statistics. It says 23.6% of children, of U.S. children, that's 17.4 million, live in fatherless homes. This is according to 2014. This is according to a Census Bureau report in 2015, not according to Tazadaq. It says living arrangements of children under 18 years and marital status, appearance by age, race, such as so-called Hispanics, so-called blacks, origins, or selected characteristics of the child for the children of 2014 and 2015, according to a Washington, D.C. Census Bureau. Now, in 2011, children living in female-headed homes with no spouse parent had a poverty rate at 47.6%. So that's 48% poverty rate that children was living under in single parent households headed by a female. This is over 4 times the rate for children living in married couples. So, okay, so say you don't need a man. You got your check. Well, let's see how's that working out for you. So a source in the United States Department of Health and Human Services that provided information on poverty and income statistics says the current population and survey data retrieved presented this information. Now, another study of 1,397,801 infants in the state of Florida evaluated how a lack of fathers involved impacts on infant immortality. That's a lack of having a father in the home. And you're going to see why this is, because brothers and sisters need to listen to this, because this is the only way that we're going to fix our nation. So lack of the father being in the home had an impact on infant mortality rates. So a lack of father environment was essentially linked to earlier births as well, and lower birth weight. Lower birth weight, meaning the child weighed less when the father was not in the home. Researchers also discovered that the father absence increased the risk of infant mortality, and the mortality rate for infants within the first 28 days of life is 4 times higher than those with the father in the home. That's something that you should think about, women that saying you don't need a man. It says parental absence is also found to increase Black and white infants mortality almost 4-fold. So this don't just apply to so-called blacks. This apply to so-called white people as well. The father's not in the home. Why? Because Esau is going wild. Let's look at some more. And this is according to Tazadaq, cite your sources. Okay. This was according to LEO-APH mob of Washington, D.C. Now, let's get some more. A study of 2,613,000 people of children 13 to 18 years old, adolescent women seeking psychological services. That means these borderline personality women. Watch this. Women that has borderline personality disorder and the likes. And women that has, bipolar disorder. These personality disorders, a study shows that these adolescent women seeking psychological services found that these adolescents from father absent homes, meaning that the father wasn't there, were 3.5, meaning 4 times more likely to experience pregnancy than where adolescents' present fathers are in the home. It's indisputable. It's unrefutable. Moreover, the rate of pregnancy amongst adolescents from father absent homes was 18 times greater than compared to a 4% rate in general adolescence population. So when the father's in the home, the rate of young girls getting pregnant is only at 4%, versus when he's not there is at 18%. So I would say that you do need a man, sister. I got a rhetorical question for you. How's lesbianism working out for you? How is it being single and miserable working out for you? Hating the so-called Black and Hispanic man. How's that working out for you? Let's look at some more studies. Because you don't want to listen. I'm going to present the facts. I deal with the facts. I deal with mathematics. And your jaw chatting, always running off at the mouth, don't add up to me. A study of 1,618 Latina, so-called Latina, that's you, northern tribes, so that you can understand. High school students found that lower perceived father support is a predicator of social behavior. So people that have, personality disorders in so-called Latina families, the father's usually not in the home. It caused a vast increase of Latina adolescent suicide. More so-called Hispanic people is committing suicide when the father is not in the home. Now, let's look at some more. It says disengage and remote interactions of fathers with infants is a predicator of early behavior problems in children and can lead to externalization behaviors in children as early as 1 year old. So when that baby is only 1 year old, they realize the absence of the father, and it could lead into a behavior problem. But the woman says she doesn't need a man. Things that make you go, Now, researchers using a secondary data from inter-university construction from political and social research examined gun carrying and drug trafficking in young men, linking father absence to the likelihood of engaging in these behaviors. So I want to say this to the young lady from Brooklyn, the social worker from Brooklyn, and you know who you are. You was on the call last night. You mentioned the people about Chicago. So according to statistics, Tazadaq was right again. The reason that these young men are killing each other and, sticking up people in Chicago in an alarming rate is because of the absence of the father. The absence of the father. It says men, they are linking these men carrying guns, drug trafficking, engaging in these types of behaviors results from a sample of 835 juvenile male inmates found that father's absence was the only disadvantage. The only disadvantage that they had was that the father was not in the home on these individuals, with significant effects on gun carrying, drug trafficking, and co-occurring behaviors. Because a man's not in the home. Oh, but you don't need a man. As if the Most High was wrong. I don't care how much education you have, the family unit is not complete without the man. And this is why you got so many homosexuals and lesbians running over the place, because you have been deprogrammed from reality, sis, to believe that you don't need a man. Now, individuals from father-absent homes were found to be 279% more likely to carry guns and deal drugs than peers living with their fathers. 279%. A young man is more likely to carry a gun and deal with drugs if the father's not in the home. These are statistics that Esau put out there. Tazadaq didn't put this out here for all you sisters that saying you don't need a man and think you could do it on your own. You're failing and you want to blame the man. It's not the man, it's you. Because you chasing him out of the house with your mouth by jaw chatting. Because you don't want to listen. Can't nobody tell you a damn thing. And you could go ahead and get upset with me, but it's true. The Most High gave you behind a divine order in the book of 1 Corinthians, the 11th chapter, verse 1-3. And you're going to get back online and you're going to follow that order, or your children are going to continue to die. Why do you think your children are dying? And some of you can't even have children because the Most High has cursed you with fibroids and stuff like that, blocking your uterus. I'm just telling the truth, man. You could go ahead and get mad with me, man. I study. Let's get some more of this, man. And you need to hear me well, brothers, because you need to set that house in order. All you weak men that's allowing these women to rule over you, you better get in order also. You better set that house in order. You better rule that household as thus saith the Lord. Stop listening to Esau and set that house in order. So a study of relationships between father absence and lower education attainment for so-called African-American females found that a larger duration of father absence is a predicate factor for lowering educational success. Hello. Researchers discovered that the longer duration of father's absence often lead to lower income and family economic stress, which put young women at risk for lower education achievement. I didn't make this up. I'm just quoting what the statistics say. Let's get some more. Children with negative attitudes about school. I don't like going to school, so on and so forth. And their teachers experience avoidance and ambivalence with fathers. On the other hand, children with a secure attachment. Check it out. So the father doesn't just need to be in the home. He needs to have a secure attachment with his sons and daughters. Children with secure attachments to the father and whose fathers were involved had a higher academic self-concept. The father-child attachment were more associated with child's social, emotional school outcomes than their academic achievement. These are statistics. They're speaking for themselves. Tazadaq doesn't have to do anything but quote them. Let's get some more. Father involvement in related positive cognitive, developmental, and social behavior child outcomes such as improved weight gains. Woman there, she letting the damn kid eat whatever he wants to eat. If you walk down the street right now, I do it all the time, you could count off 10 people and 8 of them is overweight. About 5 of them is extremely obese. And you can't even call me a liar on that, man. You can't even call me a liar on that. And you chewing on a damn jelly donut, Intamins, and you're fat. You're fat. And to all y'all told you, I want to get on a workout plan. And you're fat. But you're eating this stuff that you know you shouldn't eat. But you're willing to pay for a personal trainer. But you won't do the right thing and just stop overindulging in bad food. Why? Because you lack discipline. You don't have no father figure there. And then some of them are sitting on the damn couch. Like a damn couch potato. He get with a woman. He lose his damn mind. He loses manhood. Then she lose respect for him. And then leave him for an alpha male like me. Because I'm not bowing down to no woman. You could like that, understand it, believe it or not. The Most High did not put that in me. And if you man up and be a man, she will respect your weak behind more. Get up off of the damn couch and get your fat behind on a damn treadmill and stop talking about, oh, it's the stuff they're putting in the food. Well, get up and do something. Stop eating the bad food. Stop eating it. Stop overindulging because gluttony is a sin. Now let's get back to this. Now, according to the Bureau of Justice statistics, the number of children with incarcerated grew further 79% between 1991 and 2007. Black fathers accounted for nearly half of those incarcerated. 46% was the absence of black fathers in the home. Is why these young boys are calculated. Yet the social worker from Brooklyn is going to tell me, nah, the parents are saying they just can't control the children. The damn parents are not there. It's one parent there. It's one parent there, and that's the so-called black woman with her loud mouth that nobody can't tell a damn thing. But you're going to listen today, or your children are going to keep dying. The Most High is getting you through your children. You don't want to listen? You say, oh, you can't nobody tell me nothing. Well, that's what the woman said during the time of Jeremiah. You can't tell me nothing, but we will do what comes out of our own mouth. And so the Most High, he showed them, he put them to death. Let's get some more. 55.2% of WIC recipients. That means those children that's on WIC are raised by single mothers. 55.2%. WIC. Women, what is the acronym for? Women and children or something like that. 48% of all Head Start recipients are from father-absent homes, and 37% are public assistance and Section 8. Section 8 housing are female-headed households. Oh, but yeah, you don't need a man. You don't need a man. Do you, Shanae? As many as 25% of children in the United States live in households with a mother alone. That is over 18 million children who do not live with their father figure. Additionally, fathers only household were only noted at 8%. Only 8%. Why? Because Esau is giving you custody and child support in the courts. But look what you're doing. Look what you're doing. You're the one that's reckoning. Oh, the man left. Why did he leave? Because you're out of order, woman. You're out of order, Eve. You should have learned from your foremother, Eve. She went against Adam in the garden, but you're still not learning. Your mouth. You're going to learn to control your emotions, or you're not going to make it in the kingdom. That's why you got women like Deborah, that man, Watchman Yahoo's wife, running around like she's a damn man. That's masculine energy, man. You're not supposed to be trying to rule over no man. That's masculine energy, which is also known as feminism, which is also known as Marxism. And I'll hit you with something. You women you're not even intelligent enough to realize that feminism came from men. It came from communism. It was a plot to overthrow this country. Understand that. Understand that. Don't believe me? Go and check it out yourself. And pretty soon I'm going to come out with a video about this Marxism and how this is all strategically planned to destroy the family so that they can control the world. Now, statistics show that women-only households are more likely to live below the poverty line. In 2016, the U.S. Central Bureau reported that these types of families increased in 28%. So the black woman and the so-called Hispanic woman is constantly getting divorces, and you're creating these single parent homes, and you're producing all these homosexuals and lesbians and these damn people with all kind of spirits on them, and you're blaming the man. Sure, some brothers are guilty, but for the most part, I'm gonna hit you with something. The men love his children just like you were, but the courts are giving them to you. So then you blame the man because a man don't want to deal with your wicked behind, because you'll take the children and you'll use them as a tool. Parallel in parenting is almost impossible with the average so-called black woman because she's in her damn emotions and feelings. And you can go ahead and get mad with me if you want to. I really don't care, man. You can give the video a thumbs down, but I'm going to tell you the truth, and you're going to take this vibration back with you, whether you like it or not. So this leaves children vulnerable to a variety of social hardships throughout their lives because of her playing with people's emotions, man. So the American Academy of Pediatrics, AAP, don't believe me, go and check all of this stuff out for yourself. Notes that 1 in 5 children, more than 40%, so that's 1 in 5, more than 40% of children in the U.S., this is so-called black and white, fall into the category of poor or near to poor. While this includes families with 2 parents as well, the study shows the disadvantage of these face the single parent homes. Now, for instance, the AAP notes that impoverished children are more likely to experience developmental delays and lower academic performances. So this could actually be attributed to both the school system that serves the poor neighborhood, because in the so-called blacks and Hispanic neighborhoods, the schools receive much less funding. So they don't get a good quality of education, as well as a decrease of absence to brain stimulation in the home. Why? Because the man is not there. If the children cannot learn on the computer or take advantage of other stimulating activities that stimulates their brain, their schoolwork and their learning ability can be affected. These are the statistics that you're coming up with. I don't understand how you could be a social worker and Tazadaq could get this information and you don't. And you trying to pretend it's, the parents are saying it's because the children won't listen. No, it's not the parents. It's a single parent, mainly the so-called black and Hispanic woman. Understand that. Understand that. This is what feminism is doing. You're getting this from Esau, man. You're getting this from Esau, and this is what feminism is doing to our communities. This ain't got nothing to do with the so-called black and Hispanic family, man. This is from Esau, man. This was never part of our family structure. Our family structure was stronger now. I mean, stronger during slavery than it was now, man. There was more of a stronger bond, even after slavery, man. But now they've taught you to be individual. You could do it by yourself. I got a question for you, sisters. Why is it that 75% of divorces are filed by you? Then you blame the man for leaving, but the divorce is filed by you. You know why? Because you have an invisible contract with Esau where you could go into the court and you may not even have been working and you think you deserve half of what the man's been doing. And some of you so lazy, you don't even know how to fry a damn egg. And you brag about it. Girl, I don't know how to cook. And you think, come on, man. What kind of man wants a woman like that, man? That's not a man, that's a boy. Because you know what? He hasn't been properly raised right. You know why? Because he's been raised by one of you single women. And you can like that, understand it, believe it or not. Now let's get back to this. Factors such as the neighborhood environment, the family disputes and struggles can lead to depression, obesity. This is why look at the average young kid. You know, you look at him, he's overweight. You letting him eat on damn jelly donuts, Snickers, all the ice cream he wants. And you're fat. You're fat too. So, I mean, obviously you're not going to discipline him because you don't want them to look better than you, him or her, because you're fat. So they're emulating what they see in the parent. Case in point, my sons they're not overweight. They're slim and trim. You can see their abs. Why? Because they emulate their father. Children emulate what they see, not what you're always damn jaw chatting, telling the kid to do this. You better not smoke. And damn Shaquita smoking on a damn cigarette or a blunt right in front of her son or something. They emulate that. And it's not what's coming out of your damn mouth. You're jaw chatting. It's what they see. They emulate what they see in the action. And then the kid would show you, oh, man, you smoke. You know, you damn tweaking. The child is like the one video I saw on YouTube. Yeah, I mean, most high forbid. This stinking ass woman, she's on there tweaking with her little son right there. I mean, tweaking like she's crazy. And the kid crying, telling him, Mom, stop. And then the little kid said, Mom, you stink. She's tweaking, man. You know what I mean? Whatever, twerking. That's what they call it, twerking. Just shaking her funky behind in front of this little boy. Now, what do you think a son is thinking of his mom to do something like that, man? And you think you're qualified to raise him? But let's get back to this. So these kind of factors such as the neighborhood, the environment, you raise in a bad neighborhood, disputes with the family, you telling the children, your dad ain't no good. You ain't no good like your dad. What you think that's doing to that boy's mind, man? And the general rebellion against authority. General rebellion against authority is caused by this. So when the man tries to step in and try to properly discipline the children, you know what the woman does? Nah, you're too hard on them. That's what's going on, man. Not every woman. So if this doesn't apply to you, don't get upset. But if it cuts you, then, oh, well, eat it. It's a cold cut. You need it. Eat it. So, so a lack of access to health care can also be a detrimental to your son's or daughter's development. So the effects of poverty are regulated to father not being there also. So the AAP says child social economic is tied to educational attainment, health, and psychological well-being decades later. So the way that child is raised when his father's not in the home, it determines how he's going to appear later in life. Understand that. These are the statistics. What am I looking at? The statistics of the fatherless child. You don't have to believe me. You can go and check it out for yourself. You could go and look the same information up yourself. So the negative effects of children without fathers can lead to countless studies and reports. So these statistics show the importance of a father figure in the majority of children's lives. The father needs to be there. Both parents need to be there. But, the courts, and check this out. I'm going to show you how the system is a part of it. The system really don't care about your children. This is why they send CPS in and snatch them from you. You want your child to be a vegetarian or vegan? They sure send CPS to check on you. You trying to do homeschool? They send CPS in to check on you. And who is it usually now? A woman. A woman coming by with a damn clipboard and all of that and try and snatch your sons and daughters from you. Understand that. It's usually a woman. Now check this out, women that want women's feminism, because that's all it is. Feminist is a new word for Marxism. They just call it feminism now. You don't even know that. Check this out right here. 63% of youth suicides, fatherless homes. 90% of children that run away is from fatherless homes. Behavior disorders, women that have bipolar disorders, or the sons that have narcissism, women that have borderline personality disorders. 85% of those children are from fatherless homes. 85% of these children that develop these personality disorders, there's no man in the home. But oh yeah, you don't need a man. I forgot about that. High school dropouts, 71%. 71% is when the father is not in the home. Talk back to me. Juvenile detention rates. 70% of juveniles in state-operated institution is from homes where the father is not present. Talk back to me, woman. You don't need a man, right? I would say that you're in desperate need of a man. Substance abuse. 75% of adolescents, patients in substance abuse centers are from homes where the father is not present. I mean, come on, help me out a little bit, Yaya Bay. Does it sound like they need a man in their home to you? Aggression, aggravated assaults, such as rapists, are motivated by the father not being in the home. Rapists, motivated. Displaced anger, father's not being in the home. So back up this data from 1998, which continues to be cited by researchers, to 2016, reports of teenagers placed in juvenile residential facilities showed that 45% were living only with one parent, usually the mother. That is a significant difference when compared to 30% of teens in two-family households. Furthermore, individual studies over the years have noted similar challenges for children that don't have their fathers in their lives. So let's look at education. Now let's see if we could get some resolve as to why both in so-called black and so-called white and so-called Hispanic families, why so many women are going to college so more than men. Why so many women are moving up into higher positions in the corporate world. Let's see if we could get some resolve and understand why this is going on. Let's look at the educational attainment. Kids living in single-parent homes or in step families, which means you got a step man in the house that's usually abusing your damn daughter, and the daughter tell you, and you're so wicked, you won't even kick that Negro out. You won't even kick him out. I know a lot of cases like that, man. I've dealt with Eves that's been molested by a damn no good stepfather, and they told their mom, and the mom done nothing about it. You can't even call me a liar, man. Some of you sisters under the sound of my voice right now probably experienced it, and you hate your mom for it. You had this intense hate of your mom for it that won't seem to go away, but you got to let it go. You got to let it go because the Most High is going to deal with her. You can like it, understand it, believe it or not. So children living in single-parent homes or in step families report lower educational expectations on the part of their parents, less parental monitoring of schoolwork, and less overall social supervision than children from intact families, which mean both parents are there. Understand that. Understand that. What about achievement? Children from low income, two-parent families outperform students from higher income, single-parent homes with the woman. Oh, well, I don't need a man. Well, you got a higher income than both of these parents, the male and the female in the home, but their children outperform your child. Why? Because you're busy working. You're getting the fiat, but you're not properly raising your son or your daughter. So the daughter is going out pregnant, and the son is joining the gang or something. And if he doesn't, sometimes there's some situations that the guy goes to college from a single parent, and guess what? He turns out effeminate. He gets in, and it's backing up what these statistics say, because when he gets older, he goes up, he gets into a relationship. Guess what? He doesn't know how to deal with a woman. He's dealing with a woman from the perspective of another woman. So the relationships don't work out for it. Why? Because he's dealing with her the way that his mom has told him to deal with her. He'll argue back. They arguing back and forth like two women. It's a damn cat fight. He's not like a real man. A real man stays on his center. A real man's not argue back and forth with a woman because he knows he can never win. Because she's basing it off of feminine energy. It's off of emotions. And a real man deals with logic. But how can we resolve this? I'm not going to sit here and argue with me. But you can come back and talk to me once you calm down. See, that's what a man does. But the effeminate boy that's been raised by a woman, he's going to argue back and forth. He doesn't know any better. We only know what we've been taught. He hasn't had no masculine figure in his life. So almost twice as many high school achievers come from two-parent homes as the one-parent. Sisters, do you understand? Drug use. Let's look at drug use. A study from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services concluded that fatherless children are at a dramatically greater risk of drug and alcohol abuse. So if you're a single mother, you better really reflect on this. You better really reflect on this. And this is according to the National Center of Health and Human Services. What about the incarceration rate? So let's look at it again. Let's go back to this. Young men who grow up in homes without fathers are twice as likely to end up in jail as those who come from the traditional two-parent homes. So this is why they're turning the man against the woman. Remember, your government that you think is so lovable and will never do nothing to the people, your government, yes, your government, the United States, is trying to shoot for population control for years now. For years now, population control. They tried it on you so-called blacks first. They placed guns in your community. They placed drugs in your community. They allowed the gang activity. They can stop gangs. How in the hell can you go overseas and you control the whole country, but you can't stop gangs with the little AK-47s? Yeah, I mean, in this country, you go overseas and you control someone that got tanks and all of that. Man, they can control that if they want. They want you to kill each other. Understand that. So the other methods wasn't working. So what do we do? Well, if we could get these people to accept homosexuality and lesbianism, we can control the population that way. They're already doing it. So-called white people, you better wake up because they've already done it in every European nation on earth. Don't believe me? Go and check it out. There's a book written by one of your own, by Pat Buchanan, called Death of the West. He, at that time when I read the book, he said that every European nation was below zero population growth except for one, Albania. Now they're saying that for every white that's born, 2 is dying. Understand that. So they don't care who they get. Wow, how are they able to pull this off? Because they've convinced your woman, the so-called white woman, the Euro-Gentile, to embrace lesbianism. And guess who she's teaching it to? She's teaching it to the so-called Negro woman and the so-called Hispanic woman. Now you're out there looking on other women's vagina and thinking that, hey, freedom of expression. What do you call it? Freedom of expression. Free spirit. That is sick, man. How are you going to read in the scriptures and not see the book of Leviticus 20 and 13 if you claim to be people of God? How is it that they're allowing these homosexuals and lesbians up in these churches? How can the pastor look at these Bible-toting pastors and say, oh, well, no, homosexuals come out of church? God's against it according to the Bible. No preacher could call me a lie on that. Look at the book of Jude. It takes them way back to the book of Sodom and Gomorrah, saying that they should have learned from the sins of Sodom and Gomorrah. For all you women, in the book of Romans, 1st chapter, it says they was doing that which is unseemly. For even that women went against nature, telling you that it's natural for a woman to want a man. So your minds are sick, man. Your minds are sick, and you think yourselves to be intelligent. Understand that. But so incarceration, it says young men who grow up in homes without fathers are twice as likely to end up in jail, and those who come from traditional two-parent families are not. So those boys whose fathers were absent from the household had double the odds of being incarcerated, even when the father factor, such as race, income, and parent education and urban resident, were held constant. Do you understand? So fatherless absence increase youth incarceration. Why does the father matter? Because a woman is saying, you know, so-called black man and black woman can't get along. You can't get along. Why? The propaganda machines are dividing you. You got to learn your place. See, feminism has taught you to battle your man. The problems that was going on in these other nations, you never had that problem with your man. We was always fighting against the nations from oppressing us. Now they're teaching you to oppress your man. And some of the men, you're sick old stuff, man. Most High is going to deal with you because you're supposed to control that household. So men and women are different. Understand this. Now listen to me. Hear me well, sisters. Hear me well. Hear me well. Men and women are different. The Most High, if you believe in God, if you don't believe in the Most High, Yahweh, you shouldn't even be listening to me because you got demons on you anyways. If you don't believe in the Most High, if you don't believe in the God of the Bible, I can't help you, man, because you got demons on you anyways. You're dealing with the spirit of witchcraft. So if you don't believe in the Most High, shalom, have a nice day. I don't even know why you listen to this call because you're not of this folk. You're not going to hear this anyways, man. Your spirit's going to reject it because you got demons on you, man. You got Nakash whispering in your ear, telling you to do all kind of wicked things, orgies and all of that. See, that's the spirit of Nakash. So if you don't have the set apart spirit on you, I can't help you, man. But check this out. To those women that do have the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shah, or want to be under it, hear me well. Men and women are different. I'm about to tell you something no one probably ever told you at all, because if you did, sisters, you would get in order and you will understand that the Most High created you for a specific purpose, not to be a smart mouth, not to overpower your man, not to rule over your man, but to be a help meet, not a hell mate. Many of you have become a hell mate. The man's taking help from you when you're supposed to be the man's heaven on earth. Understand that. So men and women are different, and they parent in different ways. Now, hear what I'm saying. While those statistics examine the issues of children growing up without fathers are important to look at, what a father can bring to the child-parent relationship. So in a report by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, these benefits are outlined in great detail. For instance, young boys who have a father figure are less likely to act out, and young girls are often more confident when they have that father figure. A father can also help establish a sense of security and guide children to make wiser decisions. Now, I'm not saying that every man is smarter than a woman, but I'm dealing with facts. So the difference in parenting styles is distinctive. It's distinctive. You can't refute it. Fathers communicate in a unique way. Women communicate a lot through emotions. The father communicates in a unique way. You should give me an example, Tazadaq. Okay, I will. While a mother will often simplify her language to a child, she's trying to get down and speak on a child's level. Men tend to tell it like it is, with no change in vocabulary. And so what this does subconsciously, this can actually challenge the son or the daughter to try to understand what they're being told. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Which could actually increase critical thinking skills and subsequently school and future work success. You see that? You see that? Most of you don't get what I'm saying, man. Discipline is another factor. Discipline is another area where significant difference between mothers and fathers is seen. Women get too damn emotional. Don't you know you're more abusive than the man is? Young children that's abused, man, young babies that's abused is generally done in these single parent homes by the woman, by the woman. While women tend to be more sympathetic, fathers tend to be more sterner. No, you need to be in here at 9:30. That's it. Don't come in here any later than that. This is why some children, they won't ask the dad for something. They'll go to the mom because they know the dad is going to tell you hell to the no. Fathers like to enforce the rules with an objective perspective. There has to be an objective. And this can instill in the sons and the daughters a greater sense of right and wrong that can actually last a lifetime. So they grow up with better morals. Do you understand what I'm saying to you? Do you understand? Fathers also help boys develop self-respect for women. You can't do that, sister. You could try to teach him, but you're teaching him from a woman's perspective. And fathers also make girls more comfortable around men because they tell her what to look out for. So these are very important aspects of a child's social development. So when all you women that have custody of your children, of your sons and your daughters, and you're not allowing the father in their life, you're causing those children a tremendous injury. Understand that. You're causing them a tremendous injury, and the Most High is going to judge you for that. People that work in the educational system, they see this, but because of feminism, they try and cover it up. A lot of these women, they know that the women are doing wrong, but they try and cover it up because these feminists, they have an invisible contract. They have an invisible contract. But these things are very important in a child's life with respect to vital success. Now let's deal with these homosexualities. Those are statistics on that. Now let me show you homosexuality and lesbianism. All you sisters is going around licking other women's vaginas. That's disgusting, man, according to the Lord thy power. That's disgusting according to the Lord thy power, man. Let me get a script on that, man. The Most High is not for that, man. No matter how much you think he is. And a lot of you women, you're guilty of this, man. A lot of you so-called, Black and Hispanic women, you're doing this now. And Esau has actually introduced you to this. And you think it's cool, man. You're going to see what your freedom of expression has gotten you when judgment comes. When judgment comes down on you. When the judgment of the Most High comes down on your wicked behind, you're going to see what freedom of expression, or you could do what you want to do, and so on and so forth. You're going to see where that gets you. It's going to get you the same thing that it got during the time of the women during Jeremiah. Because what you're saying, it's nothing new. Women were saying that back in the time of Jeremiah when he was prophesying, thus saith the Lord. The Lord said to do this, and the Lord said to do this. The Lord said to do that. But they wasn't trying to hear it. They wasn't trying to hear it. They said, we're going to do whatever come out of our own mouth. That's what, and you tell the average so-called Black and Hispanic woman, oh, sis, you can't do this. Don't do that. She'll tell you the same thing today. I do what I want to do. When the Most High is going to do what he wants to do when he kills you. When he kills you, according to the Bible. According to the Bible. This is all according to not Tazadaq, but according to the Bible. Check this out. Book of Jeremiah. Write this down. 44 verse 16. It says, as for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, because that's how I'm coming at you, through the spirit of Yahweh Ba'Shem, Yahweh Shah. So if you get mad, you're not getting mad with Tazadaq. You get mad with the Lord. So they were saying it during the time of Jeremiah. Jeremiah 44 and 16. As for the word that thou hast spoken unto us in the name of the Lord, we will not hearken unto it. I mean, they're not going to listen to it. You think these women on this call is going to listen to what I'm saying? No, they're not. Not until judgment comes and the Most High kills one of their children or one of them, according to the Bible. Verse 17. But we will certainly do whatsoever thing goeth forth out of our own mouth, which means they're going to do what they want to do. But keep going. Because where you have planned, the Most High is also planned, and he's the best of planners. Now, I'm going to hit you with something, because a lot of sisters, you don't think lesbianism is wrong. You think it's okay, but that's wicked as hell, man. You're going to strap up put on a fake penis that Esau has made, and then you're going to go into another woman. Man, that's a disgusting abomination on the face of this earth. And ain't nobody going to silence me on this, man. I'm going to speak freely because my rights are reserved by the First Amendment. And you need to hear this, man, because this is wicked, man. So let's read Book of Romans, first chapter. Write this down, read it, and take this to all your churches. These 501c3 and 501c4 reverends and preachers out there that's not teaching you the truth because they're censored. So, Book of Romans 28. This is what happened when the Most High gives you up to reprobate mind. You become a lesbian. You become a homosexual. You become a transsexual. And this is why the suicide rate is higher amongst these kind of people than any other people on earth. That's something to think about. Book of Romans, chapter 1, verse 28. For this cause, Yahweh gave them up unto vile affections, wicked affections. For even their women did change the natural use into that which was against nature. So it's telling you right here, it's a natural use for a woman to lay with a man, not with a damn woman. Understand that. Why are your preachers, why are they allowing this in the churches? Why are they allowing this in the churches? Let's read verse 29. Being filled with all unrighteousness, fornication, wickedness, covetousness, maliciousness, full of envy, murder, debate, deceit, whispers, backbiters. So I mean, the scriptures is letting you know that it's not right. Without understanding, covenant breakers, without natural affection, impeccable, who knowing the judgments of God and still commit them. Scriptures say you're worthy of death. Scriptures say you're worthy of death. The scriptures say you're worthy of death if you know this stuff and you still do it. Working that which is unseen. And as they did not retain Yahweh in their thoughts, in their knowledge, God gave them up to reprobate mind to do those things which are not convenient. Which are not convenient. Which are not convenient. Verse 27 says, Romans 1 and 27 says, likewise, also men leaving the natural use of women. It's natural for a woman to lay with a man with a woman. Burn in lust one towards another. Men lusting for each other. Lusting for each other. Men working that which is unseemly and receiving in themselves that recompense of their error, which was meat. So the Most High is telling you this is wrong. For all of you that's trying to say, well, that's just the Old Testament. We're not under that anymore. We're under grace. You can miss me with that madness, man. You can miss me with that madness. And we're gonna go by thus saith the Lord. So now let's talk about these homosexuals, because a lot of people don't want to talk about it, but we're gonna talk about it, man. We're gonna deal with it. So homosexuality activities and lesbianism was designed to destroy the family and impose totalitarianism. Totalitarianism. Now I'm gonna quote you something from a gay pro-rights activist and from Rome, and he said this in February. He said it at lifesitenews.com. I'm not saying I'm a homosexual, but I'm quoting him, and I quote. He said, "I am a homosexual, but I'm against gay marriage." Now, this is the homosexual saying himself. A French pro-family activist told an Italian Catholic opinion paper earlier this month. Jean Pierre, spokesman for Menef pour Tours, told La Novia that the sole purpose of homosexualities and gay rights movement is for destroying the family. Destroying the family. That goes right back to Marxism. It said Meyer gave the interview following the first big pro-family Menef Pro Tour event in Italy on February the 11th. It says Meyer noted that in a recent tour, he said, and I quote, "We must break the silence about the real nature of the homosexualist movement, noting that many homosexuals, and I quote, have nothing to do either closely or from a distance with gay lobby that has the sole purpose of destroying the family. So he said these homosexuals' sole purpose is designed to destroy the family. And when he said homosexuals, he's mean you lesbian females also, and the whole feminist movement. Now, since the 70s, the gay community in the United States has arrogated itself the right to speak on the behalf of all homosexuals in order to destroy marriage and family. So this man, he told the Catholic paper at the start, they were aided by the feminist movement. Hello. Like I said, feminism. Feminism used it. That preceded their own. So the feminist movement came before the homosexual movement. But the feminists helped them because, you know, they're trying to push the feminist agenda and they're trying to push the homosexual agenda, both of which is designed to destroy the union of male and female. They hate marriage. They hate marriage of the male and the female. He said, and have moved from US to Europe with the help of astronomical funding of the EU. Now, this man said he blasted the homosexualist movement for using children as political tools of their ideological aims. Children are treated as trophies in the effort to force states to go along with the ideology with little regard for the real needs. And I'm going to hit you with something. These school teachers are enforcing this as well. They're teaching your children in school that it's okay to be gay, that it's okay if Bobby loved Johnny and wants to kiss Johnny. The emphasis is on the right to the child. Any of you have ever heard of the rights to the child? Better watch out for that. The child has a right that you're not even allowed to spank it. You better go and learn some law. You better come to Tazadaq's webpage and go and watch my videos and learn some law. They're gonna hit you with one of the rights of the child, and you're gonna be calling me like so many other people crying the blues. Tazadaq, they took my children away. But you don't have children. A child is a fiction. Children are fiction. Parents is a fiction. We have sons and daughters. A man and a woman has a son or a daughter, not children. When you start talking that stuff about parent, child, children, you're dealing with corporations. Understand that. But that's another topic, man. So the child is not an object. This is what this man said. This is a homosexual speaking out, a high-ranking one too. The child is not an object nor a menial product for those who suffer the pain of love, he added. 25 years ago today, this man said, I'm 50. I posed a question to have a child in order to transmit a heritage, a welfare state. In short, I wanted a child for unjust reasons. So now this homosexual, he's admitting it. And he said, today, as a homosexual, I think only of the entrance of the child. So now this homosexual is saying that he's changed his views because the spirit of the Most High has probably judged him, man. So we must break, now I quote this guy again. He said, we must break the silence to say that we cannot reasonably accept depriving a child of his social references. So before we talk about freedom and equality to be able to have children between persons of the same sex, try to think a minute to freedom and equality of the child who will be born in a society that we are parent. So this homosexual is admitting that they're preparing a society where the child is going to be in a family where there's 2 males or 2 females. What do you think they're doing that for? To control the births, to control population, to eradicate people, to control populations. Do you understand? So he said the LGBT community in France, as in Europe, is mainly composed of militants who achieve their ideological aims by violent methods. And I'm quoting a homosexual guy, right? No heterosexual said this. A homosexual himself is saying it. Because he is a homosexual who opposes the aims of the homosexuals' lobbies, he says he's received threats on Facebook, on his Facebook page, and elsewhere. So the homosexuals are coming against him because he's speaking out against it. Understand that. Another, he said, wanted to cremate him. He said some homosexuals threatened to cremate him, to burn him up. I mean, these are violent people, man. They, oh, well, I want my rights. What rights? You have every right that a heterosexual has now, but now you want more. The Lord's against it, man. So, and I'm going to quote this guy again. He said, they cannot stand that I do not think like them. So he's saying that other homosexuals and lesbians can't tolerate the fact that this particular homosexual don't think like him. I say it loud and clear. It is a homophobic attitude and an indicator of totalitarianism. Gay ideologies say that a homosexual cannot think or act for himself. So this man said the homosexual community say a homosexual can't think for himself or act for himself. He has to do it as a whole of the LGBT community. Understand that. So this man insists that he's not alone in opposing the homosexuals' ideologies. So he's saying there's more homosexuals and lesbians like him, but they're afraid to speak out because a gay, gays say they don't want to be bashed, but they'll bash their own. Justify that. This man said everywhere in Europe, and I'm quoting this, everywhere in Europe, there are homosexuals ready to say that the gay lobby does not represent them, but many others are afraid of retaliation. Why? They're afraid of gay people attacking them. They're afraid of the lesbians attacking them, just like feminists attack us when the men speak out against it. He said the movement is in fact homophobic because it is trying to force all homosexuals into the same ideological defined category. So this homosexual is saying that the homosexuals are really homophobic because they're saying if you're a homosexual and you don't think like them, they don't like you and they try and bash you. So the man says that the LGBT community reduces homosexuals for their sexual identity. This is an insult, reducing us to a particular category of people, creating a de facto. This man used the word de facto inequality. So, he must have been reading something about commerce. So instead, he goes on to say, instead, we want to be recognized for what we are, men and women, not in terms of sexual orientation, which only affects our private lives, he said. Now, you can clearly see he's confused. Now, this man added that most of the astronomical funding for the movement in Europe has come directly from the European Union. So the European Union is funding these homosexuals. It's funding the homosexuality movement in Europe. He cited particularly the group ILAG Europe that is funded directly by European commissions, with additional funding from the Netherlands government and various foundations, including Open Society Institute of billionaire social engineering George Soros. So this man also cited recently passed report that tells all EU members states to implement the goal of the LGBT movement in all areas of society. Also recently, the Italian government issued guidelines for journalists mandating their use of language that support homosexualist libelous goals. So the government is mandating this in European papers, telling them what they can print, and it has to be printed in favor of homosexuals. So you can see, man, this is a worldwide movement to destroy the family. It's intended to overthrow the families. This is Marxism. This is Eric Forumsism. This is feminism. Feminism and homosexuality is designed to destroy our families. You can like it, understand it, believe it or not. So all you women in line with that, you're off. All you men in line with that, you're off. So this man said that developed from a document produced by the Council of Europe, the guidelines warn of professional sanctions and even potential jail times for those failing to for the LGBT line. So they're saying if the papers didn't print what they wanted to print, they could actually end up doing jail time or they get sanctioned. So they're forcing homosexuality on people, man. And so this man goes on, Myers said, show that the LGBT lobby considers the European Parliament as a strategic place to advance their causes and achieve changes in Europe laws. So even knowing that there are radicals in all movements, doesn't this information that this homosexual himself put out, by the way, a heterosexual didn't put this out, a homosexual put it out, this startlingly admission recently by this lesbian. Now let's go to this lesbian journalist named Marsha Jensen. She's a lesbian journalist, writer. She said on a radio show, she actually admit that homosexual activities are lying about the radical political agenda. She says that they don't want to access the institution of marriage. They want to radically redefine the eventual elimination of marriage between male and female. A lesbian journalist said this. Here's what she recently said on a radio interview, and I quote, "It is a no-brainer. The homosexualist activities should have the right to marry, but I also think equally that it's no-brainer that the institution of marriage should not exist." Wow. Fighting for gay marriages generally involves Slovakia. Fighting for gay marriages generally involves lying about what we are going to do with marriage when we get there, because we lie that the institution of marriage is not going to change, and that is a lie. So here you have a lesbian woman saying this. Here you have a lesbian journalist woman saying this over national radio. The institution of marriage is going to change, and it should change. They tell you what they're doing. But who's leading divorce? The feminist woman. The feminist woman. You have a secret contract with Esau, and you're destroying the family. It is not the man. And again, the reason that these children are turning out homosexual and lesbians is because of the single women homes. When the father's in the home, I already proved statistically that's not happening. That's not happening. The man's going to say, get online. And again, don't think it should exist. So this woman's saying that the marriage between the male and female, she don't think it should exist. And I don't think taking part in creating fictions about life, that sort of not what I had in mind when I came out 30 years ago. So this woman saying she's been a lesbian for 30 years. She came out 30 years ago. So I have 3 children who have 5 parents. So look at that. I have 3 children who have 5 parents, more or less. And I don't see why they should have 5 parents legally. I met my new partner. This means these gay people keep jumping from relationship to relationship, and she's considered all of them parents. I met my new partner, and she had just had a baby, and the baby biological father is my brother. Now look how wicked that is, man. Look how wicked that is. She's saying her new lesbian lover is her brother's ex, and her lesbian lover has children by her ex. That's wicked as hell, man. That's wicked as hell. And my baby's biological father is my brother. And my daughter's biological father is a man who lives in Russia. And my adopted son also considers himself his father. So the 5 parents break down into 2 groups of 3s. And really, I would like to live in a legal system that is capable of reflecting that reality. So she says she wants a lifestyle like this. And I don't think that's compatible with the institution of marriage. So she's saying, this is why I want marriage destroyed. So this is nothing but Karl Marxism. This is Erich Feminism brought right here to America. Understand that. Understand that. So for quite some time, the defenders of natural marriage between the male and female have attempted to point out that the true agenda, I've been saying this for years, that the true agenda behind homosexuality and lesbianism man's organization is not marriage equality. It is total unraveling of marriage and uprooting the traditional marriage from society and put all this buffoonery and madness that you see right now. So this will ultimately include efforts to silence and to punish Some churches. This is why they want you under the 501c3 grants. They can't speak out against it. You go into most of these churches, they're flooded with homosexuals and lesbians. They're on the damn choirs. No one won't speak out against it. People on YouTube won't speak out against it. Why? You don't want your account flagged. But someone's got to say something, so it may as well be Tazadaq through the spirit Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shah. Do you understand? The churches are not saying it. Even you Israelites with the 501c3 grants, don't you know if you speak out against these flaming homosexuals, that they could sue you and make you pay all that money back? And if you can't pay it back, Nate, they're gonna lock your behind up. They don't care if you was a member of NYPD. So while few have been as vocal as this particular lesbian that I was quoting, there's a lesbian activist was in her interview over the national radio, you do have a numerical example that's providing their point. So when given the opportunity to marry after laws have actually been struck down, relatively small percentage of homosexuals and lesbians actually bothered to get married compared to heterosexuals. So they're fighting for something that they don't really even want. Why? Because these people sleep around a lot more than heterosexuals. Gay people go from person to person, passing around all kind of diseases. You can't even call me a liar, or I'll go and pull the damn statistics on. You can't even call me a liar. They sleep around a lot more and they marry a lot less than their heterosexual counterpart. Why is that? So this raises the question about the true need to unravel marriage for the fair extension of its benefits. Only 12% of homosexuals in the Netherlands marry, compared to 86% of their heterosexual peers. Why is that? They was fighting for gay marriage, lesbian marriage. Why did they not get married? Because they like to sleep around. So less than 20% of the same-sex couples already living together in California when they was actually given a chance to marry in 2008, they didn't want to. In contrast, 91% of heterosexuals in California who are living together are married. 91%. As opposed to the gays and lesbians that don't really want to get married. They want to sleep around. It was all strategically designed to destroy the family. To destroy the family. Understand that. Understand that. So clearly, folks, this is about Marxism. It's about Erich Feminism. And it's about the Frankfurt School in Germany. To destroy the family. To destroy the family. So you women, you better wake up. And you brothers better wake up. What you got to say about that, sis? Brother? So clearly, brothers and sisters, this is about cultural change and tearing down the traditional family unit that the Most High Yahweh has ordained. That's what it's about. It's about the destroying the family ethnic. And since it seems that most homosexuals living together neither needs nor desire to marry, though they desire to radically change marriage. They want to change marriage, but they don't want to get married when they're together. Why? They want to sleep around. So gays and lesbians are free to live as they choose in this society now, but not according to thus saith the Lord, because we live in a modern Sodom. We live in a modern Egypt, that spiritually known as Sodom in Egypt, as mentioned in the book of Revelation, the 8th chapter. Salakia, 11th chapter, verse 8, spiritually known as Sodom in Egypt. And many people rapidly applaud them for doing so. But these people, these gays, these lesbians, they do not have a right to rewrite marriage out of history and out of our society. So what are you going to do about it? So what's going on is America has already bought into the Marxist family planet. Marx and Engels, don't believe me, go and check it out for yourself. Because I'm always hitting you with that right knowledge, banging you in the head with some truth. So let me hit you in the head with something. All of this, these lesbians, they think that this came about on their own accord. Homosexuals think this came out on their own accord. No. This is strategically planned. It's Marxism. It's Erich Frommnism. It's the Frankfurt School. This was planned long ago. Now, if you've never read, if you've never read the Communist Manifesto by Karl Marx and Friedrich Engels, which was actually published in 1848, you should read it right now, right after this video, right now. Now, be sure when you're reading this, I want you to screen it against the human nature that actually can be confusing. I want you to screen it against your human nature, because some people that read it, they agree to it because your spirit's off as hell. So let alone unsatisfying and unyielding. So what do they mean when they screech? See, one of the things that they have in there is the abolitionists, the abolition. They want to abolish the family. That's why they need the feminism and the homosexuals and the lesbians to abolish family. That's part of Marxism. Even the most radical flare up at this infamous proposal of the communists. So what precisely Karl Marx and Engels meant by the evolution of family is a subject for debate. I mean, because you'll find so-called liberalists out here that thinks it's okay. But there's a disgrace in this. See, these people, they brought about a lot of other people that was pushing this destruction of family, which is against the Most High, by the way. It's against the Bible, by the way. It's against the Bible. It's against biblical marriage and family. Marxism is. The Frankfurt School is. Now, although all of these people that come out with this madness, they have varying beliefs. All of them goes against the ideal of the Most High, who's actually the absolute designer, who has devised eternally and established standards for male-female marriages of family. You can't dispute that. You can't refute that. How can America call herself a Judeo-Christian country and go against this? Because America has become a communist country. A communist corporation, should I say. She's a corporation. See, communists today is in America. You got websites like the Communist Party USA, and even it's been in the military. Military used to be anti-gay. Is it that way now? You got people in Cuba that's actually embracing same-sex marriages, just like in America now. They're besides themselves. Do you understand? Now, you got, these radicals running all over the place. But you haven't had no group of radicals ever in the 2,000-year sweep of Judeo-Christian West that ever contemplated that same-sex marriages of Marxism and Engels is correct. Marx and Engels, they hated the family. They hated the family. Nonetheless, along the road that probed civilization towards this historically extreme sport, some influential forces emerge on the far left that cannot and should not be ignored, family. Among certain elements was a pronounced sexual radicalism that arguably helped surface the road, or at least broke the ground for the same-sex marriage, and so on and so forth. So once each element of the neo-Marxists of the Frankfurt School, which had especially strong impact on a lot of these American universities that a lot of you going to colleges for since the 60s, did not Karl Marx say in his manifesto, "Blessed is he who has no family"? Marx and Engels wrote that. It's in the Communist Manifesto. But that would come later, a century after Marx and Engels. So he said this a century before, and now you're in it. You're in it. What Marx and Engels has written is literally being practiced here. It's literally being practiced here in America. It's literally being practiced here. So the final semi-partnership was actually 1884 book published by Engels a year after Marx's death. And the title of that book was The Origin of the Family. And Engels, in his preface, makes it very clear that the books reflected Karl Marx's views. Engels stated in that book that Marx had actually wanted to undertake this particularly important work and had actually produced extensive extracts up until his death, which Engels actually had reproduced in his book. So as far as he possibly could. So in fact, many of the ideas in The Origin of the Family could actually be found in that joint work by Karl Marx and Engels. Now, the German ideology, which was actually not published during their lifetime, the scholars of those works are certain that The Origin of the Family was essentially a joint work on both Karl Marx and Engels, calling it an impressive unity of continuity. So this abolishment of family, you're seeing it right here. You're seeing it through homosexuality and lesbianism. You're seeing it by single parent homes. That's the destruction of family. So the Marxism is being lived out right now. So Engels and Marx actually envisioned this. He said that the single family ceases to be the economic unit of society. The private housekeeping is transformed into a social industry. The care and the education of children becomes the public affair. I mean, you got the public taking care of your children. All of this is being put in effect right now as I speak. We're living it right here today. Society looks after the children alike, whether they are legitimate or not. You see that? That's what's going on. The public food system is taking care of it. Now, the Communist Manifesto had 10-point plan for erasing the family. Anyone knows those 10 points? Now, some of these ideas were already emerging in the Communist Manifesto. So Marx and Engels included a shocking but telling 10 points for the new idea of humanity. And guess what? America's taking on most of those points now. You're living in it right now. I'm going to give you direct quotations from those 10 points. He said, abolition of property. You can't get a load of your titles anymore, can you? You can't even call me a liar. Anyone ever trying to get the manufacturer's statement of origin to your car so you don't have to pay any taxes? How come they don't have it anymore? Karl Marxism. You can't get a load of your title. They make it impossible to your land. So if you get land, you keep paying property taxes on it. Where did they get this from? Where did America get this idea from? Karl Marxism. They got it from the Communist Manifesto. And you don't want to learn the law? That's one point. Abolition of property and land and application of all rents of land to public purposes. So it goes to the public, which means these corporations and government, so that you could pay taxes. Well, check out the next point. It's backing it right up. A heavy progressive or graduated income tax. Is that not what you're doing? Are you not paying damn near 40% of income tax of what you earn? The Communist Manifesto. You could thank Karl Marx for this. And America has embraced it. She's embraced it. I thought America was against communism. Why are these 2 points enforced? The evolution of all rights of inheritance. Now you got inherited taxes. You inherit something, you got to pay taxes. It's Marxism. Confiscation of all property of immigrants and rebels. So they're going to kick you out of the country. Or if you're an immigrant, they would take your property. You want to rebel? They would take your property. Centralization of credit in the hands of the state by means of national bank with the state capitals and exclusive monopoly. Centralization of means of communications and transport in the hands of the state. Is that not what happens when they declare FEMA is in effect? Do they not suspend the Constitution and they control constitution, transportation, and communication? Did not George Bush pass an act that they could just go into your damn cell phone? They could take your car if they need it, if they declare a national emergency. Is that not what's going on? Is this not communism in this country? Extension of factories and instruments of productions owned by the state. The bringing into cultivation of wastelands and the improvement of soil generally in accordance with a common plan. Is that not what this pipeline's about? That they're moving the natives off the land? Going right through natives' lands and said, we're going to run this pipeline here. Is that not what's going on? But I thought America was against communism. Wait, I'm confused. Equal obligation of all to work. Gradual abolition of all distinction between town and county by a more equitable distribution of population over the county. Free education for all children in public school. Is this not what's going on? Are they not making it mandatory? If you don't want to send your child to school, they still have to pass a home or a state exam, a state testing. Why? Because you signed them over by way of the birth certificate. So free education for all children in public school. It didn't used to be that way. That's Marxism. That's communism. See, this is what the Communist Manifesto really says. And worse, desires not one country, but the whole world. The desire is a new world order, and it's already here. It's called Uniform Commercial Code. So why are you not learning the law? Why don't you know the law? See, it's a prescription, obviously, for despotism. So Tazadaq comes out with a book called We the People versus Despotism, and you don't even know what the hell I'm talking about. They're already doing it. You're already under despotism. The court systems are colorable. The judges are colorable. The attorneys are colorable. The statutes are all colorable. So as Marx himself conceded, prefacing his 10 points, of course, in the beginning, this cannot be effected except by means of despotic inroads. So despotism has come to the United States, has come to the corporation of the United States. See, Marxism was not hijacked by despotics. Marxism demands despotics. Only a fool would not instantly, intuitively realize that implementing this vision would necessarily generate mass bloodshed. A lot of you are going to have to die, man. A lot more you're going to have to die. Why do you think these cops are killing people like that? Because in order to enforce this, it's going to cause bloodshed. Because some people are going to rebel. So this is why I imagine that most Marxist professors dare not have students read the Communist Manifesto. Their students, I heard that read this thing, the Communist Manifesto, is actually, some of them say it's actually a pretty good book. It's a pretty good book with ideas if you simply take time to read it. And so my response is usually, really? Have you read it? Have you actually read it? And then that response always elicits a blank stare from the person that says, I think it's a pretty good book. But back to my point, back to the point on marriage and family. Now, I want you to note that several of these 10 points in the Marx and Engels plan would directly impact the family. Now, I want you to look at point 1, 2, 3, 9, and 10. Point 1, 2, 3, 9, and point 10. Among them, I want you to pay particular attention to those points. But how does communism destroy the family, Tazadaq? Well, the core end, point 3, is to terminate all the rights of inheritance. To terminate all the rights of inheritance. Marx and Engels saw inheritance as a menace that actually perpetuated the role of the traditional family. So how could a classless society guarantee equality of income when some person at birth were unjustly handed more income from their parents than others? See, how could a classless society guarantee equity of income when some person at birth were unjustly handed income from their parents, more income than others? See, this is ironic given that both Karl Marx and Engels existed and operated off of Engels' inheritance, which actually subsidized their work, especially after Marx sucked as much money as he could from his own financially drained parents. Yeah, he was against it, who were very bitter at how he actually exploited them, by the way. If you go and do some history on Karl Marx, Marx's relationship to his parents were plainly parasitic. He was a damn parasite. And Marx's moms openly expressed the wish that Karl stop writing about capital and start accumulating some of it for him and his own family. But nonetheless, their recommendation was to abolish all rights of inheritance. Now, of course, inheritance was about private property, which Marx and Engels despise. So, in fact, the central goal of the Communist Manifesto is just that. It was exactly that. That the theory of the Communist Manifesto may be summed up into a single sentence: abolition of private property. He don't want you to own nothing. And point 9 in the 10-point plan of Marx and Engels, they call for gradual abolition of all distinctions between town and country by a more equitable distribution of the population over the country. So this obviously and painfully affected families, whether you realize it or not. For communist regimes in nations like Cambodia, this gradual evolution took the form of immediate, overnight mass desperation at the tip of atomic rifles and strengthening drastic actions that were vividly captured in that 1984 movie called The Killing Fields. Now, what about separate children? Separate the children and parents. You see, some of you right now, to the sound of my voice, you've had your children taken out of your home. This is all part of Marxism. CPS, Child Protective Services, is all part of Marxism. Now, you can think I'm crazy all you want to. That's all part of Marxism. So, other people that took his advice to extremes was Leonor Sabovarch. the leading Soviet urban planner under Lenin and Stalin. So, in a series of influential writings, they published by the Kremlin in the 1920s. So, Sovovich argued for a total separation of children from parents starting in the earliest years of the child development. Now, you can't tell me that hasn't come to America. Some of you, under the sounds of my voice right now, CPS has come into your home and they have deprived you of your sons and your daughters. And you don't know what the hell to do to get them back. You haven't even done nothing wrong. It is Marxism being enforced right in your face. And you're not doing anything. Why? You don't even want to learn law. Some of you, you don't even want to know the law until you're already in trouble. But you got to know the law, man. So, and this guy, Sovovich, he extorted those people that disagreed with him. Those who found his suggestion of full child-parent separation unnatural and unwelcome was actually unprogressive. So he said. So he considered them to be bigots. And so likewise befitting a diehard leftist. He advocated absolute state power to steamroll those that was actually in his way. So this man, he argued for a total separation of children from the parents starting in the earliest years of child development. And so, brothers and sisters, when you look at this point 10 in the Communist Manifesto and the grand plan of Marx and Engels, they wanted free education for every child in public schools. Why? I want you to think. Think with me for a minute. Walk with me for a minute. Why free education for every child? Why? Because your children are not being properly educated. They're being deprogrammed from reality. No more of what they denounce as the hollow correlation of parent and child. And this bogus nonsense about the family and education. Overall, Marx and Engels, they started the communist revolution is the most radical rupture with traditional relations. No wonder, family, that is development involves the most radical rupture with traditions to ideas. So among those ideas was the natural, traditional, biblical belief. They said it had to go. Now, check out how this is why they want to educate your children. They don't want you teaching your children the Bible, the traditional biblical beliefs. They said they got to go from the family. They said that the marriage of male and female has to go. It had to be targeted. It had to be targeted. So 2 centuries later, it's finally being redefined. You got the gay marriages, lesbian marriages. You got the crackpot Germany atheist philosopher and European cafes. You got everyday mainstream Americans. You got Mr. and Mrs. Main Street. So what they're not only advocating, but vigorously and often militantly pushing is that most radical rupture of traditional relationships is to be eradicated. And Marxism and this Engelsism is going to be enforced. And so the people are actually being dumbed down. So they're determining what your children are actually learning in school. They're pushing the homosexual agenda in school. They're pushing the same-sex marriage in school. This is all Marxism. So you're breaking entirely new ground into what Marxism wanted. This is what they wanted. So, and when you speak out like Tazadaq does, they portray those that speak out against gay marriages as extremists and against hate, as hate mongers. They flagged me on YouTube several times for speaking out against it. They called you hate mongers. And this is especially exciting time for the extreme leftists. They are no doubt oozing out confidence. They're oozing out confidence. The gay people, lesbian people, they're finally content, but they want more and more. Why? It's evidently clear it's for the destruction of family, the destruction of male and female marriage, and the destruction of family. So, brothers and sisters, hey, you could continue to follow this world, or you start to follow the Most High in Christ. But you're gonna have to decide what side you want. But this is all about destroying the family unit, the male and female, that is. And they want you to produce these funny comic book families. And if you speak out against it, they're going to come against you. They're going to come against you. They're going to call you a hate monger. They're going to call you prejudice. They're going to put all kind of titles on you that's not true. Why? The Most High is against it. You should be against what your God is against, right? So that's what it is. I put a lot of information in this video. Hopefully you go back and listen to it. But this is what you're heading for. This is the world that you're living in right today. So the question becomes, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You're going to keep living like this, or are you going to move to change it? But you're going to have to decide what side you're on. What are you going to do about it? Sister, brother, going to continue to fight each other? Well, that's part of the plot also, to turn you against each other and get you to destroy each other, to destroy the unit of family, which they're doing a very good job at. So what are you going to do? You're going to learn to live together in harmony? Or are you going to continue to separate and be destroyed? Because you're looking at a new form of family, a new form of things that's going on out here. So with that, I'm going to bring this to an end. I'm going to say shalom. Thank everyone for listening. It's quite a long video, but hey, should have been very well worth it. So with that, I'm going to say shalom, kwam yasha Allah. Like the video, share the video. Thanks for watching. Shalom, 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 shalom. Hey, once again, under this sound.